Introduction of Betty Wright. Betty Wright. Wright, 1975. Background information. Birth name Bessie Regina Norris, born December 21, 1953, Miami, Florida, U.S. Died May 10, 2020, aged 66. Occupations: singer, songwriter. Years active 1956 to 2020. Associated acts: Bessie Regina Norris, December 21, 1953 to May 10, 2020, owned by her stage name Betty Wright. 3. Was an American soul and R&B singer, songwriter and background vocalist, who rose to fame in the 1970s with hits such as Clean Up Woman and Tonight Is the Night. She was also prominent in regard to the use of whistle register. Early life and career. Born in Miami, Florida as Bessie Regina Norris on December 21, 1953, Wright was the youngest of 7 children of Rosa Akins Braddy Wright and her second husband, MacArthur Norris. Wright began her professional career at the age of 2 when her siblings formed the Echoes of Joy, a gospel group. Wright contributed to vocals on the group's first album, released in 1956. Wright and her siblings performed together until 1965, when she was 11 years old. Following the group's breakup, Wright, who was already using the name Betty Wright, decided to switch musical styles from gospel to rhythm and blues, singing in local talent shows until being spotted by a local Miami record label owner, who signed her to her first label, Deep City Records, in 1966 at 12. She released the singles Thank You Baby and Paralyzed, which found Wright local fame in Miami. In 1967, the teen was responsible for discovering other local talents such as George and Gwen McCrae, helping them sign with the Alston Records label TK Records, part of Henry Stone's recording and distribution company. Her first album, My First Time Around, was released when she was age 14. Her first hit single was Girls Can't Do What the Guys Do. In 1970, while still in high school, she released Pure Love at the age of 16. Breakthrough. About a year later, Wright released her signature song, Clean Up Woman, written by Clarence Reid and Willie Clark when she was 17. The record reached number 2 on the R&B charts, where it stayed for 8 weeks. It crossed over to the pop charts, peaking at number 6 and staying on the Billboard Hot 100 for 14 weeks. It eventually sold over 1 million copies and was certified gold on December 30, 1971, 9 days after the singer turned 18. Wright struggled with a successful follow-up until 1972 when the single Babysitter, one of Wright's first compositions, reached the top 50 of the Hot 100 and peaked at number 6 on the R&B charts. Another hit that emerged during this early period was 1973's Let Me Be Your Lovemaker, which peaked at number 55 on the Hot 100 and number 10 on the R&B chart. It was the first instance, after Babysitter, where Wright showed off her powerful whistle register vocals. Another successful composition was the proto-disco number Where Is the Love, co-written by Wright, with producers Harry Wayne Casey and Richard Finch, from KC and the Sunshine Band. This peaked at number 15 on the R&B chart, number 2 on the dance charts and crossed over to the UK, peaking at number 25, leading Wright to perform overseas. Wright later won the Best R&B Song Grammy Award for composing Where Is the Love. A second prominent overseas hit was another proto-disco number, Shora. Shora, issued on Alston and written by Allen Toussaint. Both songs appeared on one of Wright's most popular albums, Danger. High Voltage, released in late 1974. It was on this album that Wright had her most successful composition, with the smooth soul ballad, Tonight Is the Night, which Wright attributed to her first sexual experiences. The original version peaked at number 28 on the R&B chart. 4 years later, Wright released a live version of the song. The remodeled version, which included a now famous monologue and portions of Wright's 1970 hit Pure Love, peaked at number 11 on the R&B chart in 1978. In 1977, Wright discovered musician Peter Brown and sang background on Brown's hits, You Should Do It, and Dance With Me, where her vocals were prominently featured alongside Brown's, from the successful LPA Fantasy Love Affair. In 1978, she performed a duet with shock rocker Alice Cooper on the song, No Tricks, and a year later, opened for Bob Marley on the Reggae Stars Survival Tour. 1980s and 1990s. Wright's other albums at the end of the 1970s were less successful, and by 1981, as TK began to struggle, she moved to a bigger label, signing with Epic, where her self-titled album was released. The album was notable for the minor Stevie Wonder composed hit, What Are You Gonna Do With It? The same year, she contributed vocals on Richard Fields' Dimples album, especially on the hit, She's Got Papers on Me. In 1983, she released the album Right Back at You, which featured compositions by Marlon Jackson of the Jacksons. In 1985, Wright formed her own label, Miss B Records, issuing the album Sevens the following year. In 1988, Wright made history as the first black female artist to score a gold album on her own label, when her 1987 album, Mother Wit achieved that certification. The album was notable for the comeback hits, No Pain, No Gain, which returned her to the top 20 on the R&B chart for the first time in a decade, and After the Pain. In 1990, she had a hit duet with Grayson Hugh on the remake of Champagne's 1981 hit, How About Us, and later arranged the harmonies for Gloria Estefan's Coming Out of the Dark, which hit number 1 in 1991. Continuing to release solo material into the 1990s, her 1994 album B Attitudes featured a remixed duet of Marvin Gaye's Distant Lover. Since then, she has self-released several more recordings while still performing successfully as a live act. 2000s. In 2001, the compilation album The Very Best of Betty Wright was released, along with Fit for a King, her first studio album for several years. In 2008, Wright was featured on a Lil Wayne track titled Playing with Fire. However, due to a lawsuit, the song was removed from the album online. In 2006, Wright appeared on the TV show Making the Band, appointed by Sean Combs as a vocal coach for new female group Danity Kane. She mentored several young singers and did vocal production for such artists as Gloria Estefan, Jennifer Lopez and Joss Stone. Along with co-producers Steve Greenberg and Michael Mangini, Wright was nominated for a 2005 Grammy Award in the Best Pop Album category for producing Joss Stone's album Mind, Body and Soul. Wright, Greenberg and Mangini also produced 2 tracks on Tom Jones's 2008 album 24 Hours, a cover of Bruce Springsteen's The Hitter, and More Than Memories, written by Stax legend Carla Thomas. The trio also produced the debut album by Diane Birch in 2009. In December 2010, Wright was given another Grammy Award nomination for the song Go on the Best Traditional R&B Vocal Performance. The album Betty Wright, the movie, credited to Betty Wright and the Roots, produced by Wright and Amir Questlove Thompson, was released November 15, 2011 on Ms. B Records, S-Curve Records. Betty Wright, the movie also included collaborations with Joss Stone, Snoop Dogg, Lil Wayne and Lenny Williams. Surrender, a track from the album, was nominated for a 2011 Grammy in the Best Traditional R&B Performance category. On New Year's Eve 2011, she appeared on the UK's BBC Two television channel, on the Jools' annual Hootenanny show, backed by the Jools Holland Rhythm and Blue Orchestra. She performed her singles Clean Up Woman and Shora. Shora, alongside In the Middle of the Game, Don't Change the Play, from Betty Wright, the movie. Death. Wright died on May 10, 2020, from cancer at her home in Miami. She was 66, and news of her death was first announced by her niece. Just 2 days earlier, fellow singer Chaka Khan had made a plea on Twitter saying, calling all my #Pray Warriors. My beloved sister, Betty Wright at MS Betty Wright, is now in need of all your prayers. Legacy. Several of Wright's works have been sampled over the years by hip-hop, rock and R&B musicians. The riff from Clean Up Woman has been sampled by acts such as Africa Bambaataa, SWV, Mary J. Blige, Sublime, Willie D, and Chance the Rapper. Wright's first hit Girls Can't Do What Guys Do was sampled for Beyoncé's Upgrade You. In 1992, Wright sued the producers behind Color Me Badd's breakthrough hit I Wanna Sex You Up after claiming they used the sample of her live version without clearance and without permission, and sued for royalties. Wright won her case, winning 35% of royalties for writing the song. Grammy Awards. Wright won the Best R&B Song Award for composing Where Is the Love. She received 1 award from 6 nominations.